In recent years, projects coming from Asia have started reaching an incredible level in the gaming world, guys. People used to mostly talk about Japanese studios, but now China and South Korea are officially starting to enter the center of the AAA gaming industry as well. Especially after Black Myth, Wukong, we can say things completely changed. And today, we're looking at 5 massive projects that I think could define the next few years. Games that look incredible visually and also carry huge potential on the gameplay side are coming. And honestly, some of them have already entered the most anticipated games list for many people, including me. So let's take a look. Tides of Annihilation. A concept that blends modern London with Arthurian legends grabs your attention from the very first trailer. Here, we control a character named Gwendolyn. London has been shattered after an invasion from another world, and the city now looks like both a modern disaster zone and a battlefield intertwined with the dark mythology of Avalon. Gwendolyn's goal is to save her sister, restore the world, and take revenge on the demigods coming from Avalon. The game is being developed for PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. There is currently no confirmed release date. One of the coolest ideas here is that our character can summon the ghostly powers of the Knights of the Round Table. So we're not just fighting with our own sword, we're creating combos together with spectral knights during combat. This system looks very cinematic visually and could also add a different rhythm to the gameplay. On the action side, the influence of Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Final Fantasy XVI, and Shadow of the Colossus can be felt very clearly. Fast combos, massive boss fights, ruined London streets, and that epic fantasy atmosphere make the game really stand out. Especially the idea of giant enemies makes the scale of the game feel much bigger. When I first saw the trailer for this game, I was honestly blown away visually. I'm not exaggerating, I watched it over and over again, because I absolutely love fast hack-and-slash games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. And when you add the feeling of fighting massive enemies on top of that, it instantly becomes one of my most anticipated games. If the final game truly delivers the same energy as the trailer, I won't just finish it once and leave it there. I'll probably go back and play it several times. Blood Message. NetEase is preparing to tell a more emotional story here, focusing on ordinary people behind massive wars. The game takes place in ancient China, near the end of the Tang dynasty. In the story, we follow an unnamed messenger and his son. This father and son duo is trying to deliver a very important message to Chang'an, one that could change the fate of their country, while caught in the middle of war and chaos. The game is being developed for PC and consoles. A release date has not been announced yet. I think the strongest part of this idea is this. The game is not telling the story of great emperors or legendary warriors, but the sacrifice of ordinary people lost inside history. A father and son trying to survive in the middle of war, while also carrying out a crucial mission, offers a really powerful dramatic foundation. Structurally, we are expecting a more linear, cinematic, and story-driven action-adventure game. So instead of a massive open world, it may be a more controlled, directed experience that progresses scene by scene. That's why it reminds me of games like The Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted, A Plague Tale, and Ghost of Tsushima. For me, the strongest side of this game is definitely its story potential, because I love emotional, character-focused, cinematic games like this. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games, and even though a lot of people heavily criticize the story of Part 2, I actually like that game's story too. So even if Blood Message is not perfect in terms of gameplay, if its story pulls me in, I will absolutely finish it just to see the ending. The Relic, First Guardian. This dark fantasy project from South Korea may look like a Souls-like at first glance, but it seems to be trying to build its own universe. The game takes place in a ruined and mysterious world called Arsiltis. In this world, fragments called relics carry the memories and emotions of people who lived in the past. So this doesn't look like a game where we simply cut down bosses and move forward. It feels like a dark journey where we collect traces of the past to understand the world. The game was originally planned for May 2026, but was later delayed to summer 2026. It is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. On the atmosphere side, we see a heavy, melancholic, and dark world. Massive bosses, abandoned regions, ancient structures, and tragic stories seem to define the tone of the game. What really makes me curious here is that the game does not look like just another Souls-like. Yes, it has Souls-like influences with its dark fantasy structure and boss-focused combat, but it also seems like it is trying to build its own systems and its own story. In terms of gameplay, we are expecting careful, brutal, and tactical combat, but there are also some differences. For example, attacks not consuming stamina, and stamina being used more for defense and dodging could give the game a different rhythm. We will also strengthen our character with relic and rune-style systems. The goal of more than 70 bosses also shows that the game is pretty ambitious when it comes to boss variety. What makes this game interesting to me is not just the fact that it is a Souls-like. The real thing is its world and lore. I love discovering new universes. Worlds with their own rules, atmosphere, and story. Like The Witcher or Lies of P. Always pull me in more. If the Relic builds its dark world properly, it may not be just a game we play and forget. It could even become the beginning of a new series that we talk about for a long time. Project Tal. Seeing Korean folklore in a AAA open-world action RPG format is already an interesting idea on its own. Traditional Tal masks, mythological creatures, and a dark fantasy atmosphere rooted in Korean culture give the game a very different identity. Just like Black Myth, Wukong brought Chinese mythology to global players. There is a chance we could see something similar here from the Korean side. The currently targeted release year is 2027, and the game is planned for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS. Not many details have been revealed about the story yet, but from the trailers, it looks like we are in a fantasy world corrupted and taken over by dark powers. Giant creatures, wide open areas, traditional masks, and companion characters fighting alongside us seem to form the core identity of the game. The companion system could be important here. In other words, we may not fight alone, but together with allies who have different roles. The gameplay side gives off a bit of a Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma, and Horizon vibe. We may see systems like finding the weak points of massive enemies, attacking at the right moment, reading the rhythm of the fight, and sometimes climbing onto the enemy. So this doesn't look like a cut through everything as fast as possible type of game. It seems to have a slightly more tactical and careful structure. For me, Project Tal is not the biggest source of excitement on this list, but it is definitely a project I'm curious about. When it comes out, I'll play it, finish it, and experience it. It's just that these more calculated, tactical open-world games are usually not the games I return to again and again. I enjoy them while playing, but after finishing them, I usually put them aside. Still, the idea of Korean folklore and Tal masks definitely makes the game feel special. Phantom Blade Zero. This project from China became even more attention-grabbing, especially after Black Myth, Wukong. Because players have now seen this clearly. Chinese studios are no longer just making beautiful trailers. They are reaching a point where they can actually release large-scale AAA games. Here, we control a deadly assassin named Soul. Our character is accused of killing the leader of the organization he belongs to, is severely wounded, and is brought back to life by a mysterious healer. But there is a huge price. He only has 66 days left to live. The game is currently planned to release on the 9th of September, 2026, for PS5 and PC. So this is not just a simple action story, where we go around cutting down enemies. There is a character whose time is running out, who has been betrayed, and who is trying to uncover the conspiracy set against him. This gives the story a much darker and more personal tone. Assassins, secret organizations, dark cities, and a main character racing against death. I think that kind of idea fits these games really well. On the gameplay side, the biggest thing is speed and aggression. From what we've seen, it looks like Sekiro's reflex-based parry system, Devil May Cry's fluid action, and Ninja Gaiden's brutal pace are all coming together here. But according to the developers, this is not a heavy Souls-like in the classic sense. They are aiming for a faster, more cinematic, and more aggressive combat structure. My excitement for this game comes exactly from that. I have been waiting for it since it was first announced, but at first, I was a little skeptical. I used to wonder, can a game at this level really come out of China? But after playing and finishing Black Myth, Wukong, that doubt completely disappeared. Now I look at this game with much bigger excitement. The dark atmosphere, fast combat system, Sekiro and Devil May Cry feeling. All of these are exactly the things I love. So I'm waiting for it impatiently. As you can see, guys, the next few years could be incredible, especially for action RPGs and cinematic story-driven games. China and South Korea are no longer just saying, "We are here too." They seem to be becoming some of the biggest players in the industry. Especially if projects like Phantom Blade Zero, Tides of Annihilation, and Blood Message can carry the quality they showed in their trailers into the final games, we could see some truly massive things in the gaming world. But now what I'm really curious about is your thoughts. Which game on this list are you looking forward to the most? Which project do you think has the biggest potential? And especially, which one would you play on day one? Make sure to write it in the comments, and let's talk about your theories and thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next video, guys, and take care.